ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोन् श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभदुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So we are entering into 13th chapter of the third canto. This is the appearance of Lord Varaha. Text 1. Shri Sukha Uvacha Nishamya Vacham Badato Munehe Punyattamam Nripa Bhuyaha Prapacha Kauravyo Vasudeva Kathadrataha. Okay. Shri Shukadev Goswami said, O king, after hearing all these most virtuous topics from the sage Maitreya, Vidura inquired further on the topics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which he adored to hear. Purport. The word Adrataha is significant because it indicates that Vidura had a natural inclination for hearing the transcendental message of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he was never fully satisfied. Though continuing to hear those topics, he wanted to hear more and more so that he could be more and more blessed by the transcendental message. So Vidura and Maitreya are discussing, and here Shukadeva Goswami is telling that Vidura was putting more and more inquiries, and he wanted to know more about Krishna consciousness. Okay, text 2. Vidura uvacha savai swayambhuva samrat priyaha putraha swayambhuvaha pratilabhya priyam patnim kim chakara tato mune. So yesterday we studied that when Brahma was thinking that how to expand the creation is not happening, like the procreation of children is not happening sufficiently. So then when he was meditating in that way, he begot, or the two personalities appeared from his body, that is Swayambhuva Manu and his wife, I forgot the name. Huh?
Satarupa.
Satarupa, yeah. Swayambhu Manu and Satarupa, his wife. So both of them appeared. So they are actually, they are Shaktivesh avatars of the Lord. And from Manu comes the whole, dynasty of this word man itself comes from the word Manu. So from Swayambhu Manu and Satarupa, so we have Uttanapad and Priyavrata. So two great sons were born. And then Devhuti, Akuti, and Prasuti, three daughters were born. So about these personalities, the topics about these personalities are going to come till whole of third canto, fourth canto, fifth canto, it will go till there. So there, so much of this one is going to happen on the lineage of Swayambhuva Manu. So in the second canto of Bhagavatam, we had studied the subject matter of the Bhagavatam. So that is Atra Sarga Visargascha Sthanam Poshana Mutaya Manmantreshanukata Nirodho Muktir Ashraya. So the Sarga means the primary creation, the creation that is done by Lord himself. And then Visarga is the creation that is done by Lord Brahma. So we kind of see the Visarga portion, where Lord Brahma is creating. And then Atra Sarga Visargascha Sthanam. So various planetary systems, Poshanam, how the living entities are going to be nourished, and Utaya is the creative impetus, and then Manvantara, so different periods of Manus. So in that, under that topic, here we see that Swayambhuva Manu, he is born of Lord Brahma, and or he's just like here it is not mentioned that Swayambhuva Manu is a son of Lord Brahma. It is mentioned that he, from the beginning, he was known as a part of the body of Lord Brahma. He is an expansion of Lord Brahma. So somewhat like that he is considered. So now the Swayambhuva Manu is come, and then his dynasty is there. And the discussion about this dynasty goes on for like few cantos. No, it is that is going to be there. So it is all connected. It's the whole Bhagavatam. It goes with a connecting line, and most of the incarnations of the Lord, so they come. They are described. Now we are going to see about the Varahadev's appearance. So in what context the Varahadev's appearance come? It comes in the context of, okay, no, Swayambhuva Manu's period, what all things happened? No. So if if some ruler is ruling the country, if this person was the CM, and during his period, what all things happened? No. And here, what all things means what, which all incarnation of the Lord happened, and who are all the great devotees who are there. So that is what is the history, that was recorded. So now, during this period of Swayambhuva Manu, Varahadev actually appears, and because of that, like his details are actually mentioned here. So this is the period of Swayambhuva Manu's period during the time of, means the Varahadev's appearance is during the time of Swayambhuva Manu's appearance. So, or Swayambhuva Manu's rule. So now here Vidura is asking, Savai Swayambhuva Smarat Priya Putra Swayambhuvaha Pratilabhya Priyam Patnim Kim Chakara Tato Mune. Vidura said, "O great sage, what did Swayambhuva, the dear son of Brahma, do after obtaining his very loving wife? Charitam tasya rajarisher adi rajasya sattama bruhi me shraddhadanaya vishvakshena hi asau." O best of the virtuous, the original king of kings, that is Manu, was a great devotee of the personality of Godhead Hari. And thus it is worth hearing of his sublime character and activities. Please describe them. I am very eager to hear. Purport. Srimad Bhagavatam is full of transcendental topics of the personality of Godhead and his pure devotees. In the absolute world, there is no difference in quality between the Supreme Lord and his pure devotee. Therefore, hearing the topics of the Lord and hearing of the character and activities of his pure devotee has the same result, namely the development of devotional service. So, like, this is a very important concept that is mentioned. So, if we are hearing about the Lord, or if we are hearing about the activities of a pure devotee, both are going to help us in advancing in Krishna consciousness. Okay, text 4. Sutasya pumsam suchira shramasya navanjasa suribir idito artaha Tattad Gunanu Shravanam Mukunda Padaravindam Hridayeshu Esham. Persons who hear from a spiritual master with great labor and for a long time must hear from the mouth of pure devotees about the character and activities of pure devotees. Pure devotees always think within their hearts of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, who awards his devotees liberation. Purport. Transcendental students are those who undergo great penance in being trained by hearing the Vedas from a bona fide spiritual master. So there are different kinds of penances there. Somebody can go to the Himalayas and then he can endure the cold and he can do some tapasya there and things like that. But here, the penance for a Vaishnava is mentioned here. So a devotee of the Lord, what kind of penance he is doing? His penance is he is trying to hear the Vedas from the bona fide spiritual master. So that is what is the penance that a devotee of the Lord is doing. Right? Okay. Not only must they hear about the activities of the Lord, but they must also hear about the transcendental qualities of the devotees who are constantly thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord within their hearts. A pure devotee of the Lord cannot be separated from the lotus feet of the Lord for even a moment. Undoubtedly, the Lord is always within the hearts of all living creatures, but they hardly know about it because they are deluded by the illusory material energy. The devotees, however, realize the presence of the Lord, and therefore they can always see the lotus feet of the Lord within their hearts. Such pure devotees of Lord are as glorious as the Lord. They are in fact recommended by Lord as more worshipable than he himself. No, this is there in the Padma Puran. We can see that Aradhananam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam Param. So Lord Shiva is telling to Parvati that no Aradhananam Sarvesham. So like of all the types of Aradhanas, like worships, Vishnu Aradhanam Param. So worship of Vishnu is the Param, is the supreme. And then Tasmat Parataram Devi. No, Parathara means like it is a superlative degree. No, it is no better than that. No, Tasmat. No, better than that is Tasmat Parataram Devi Tadiyanam Samarchanam. So Tadiya means like anything that is connected to the Lord, or the things which are in connection with the Lord, and the primary thing which is in connection with the Lord is a pure devotee of the Lord who is constantly thinking of the Lord. So Tadiyanam Samarchanam. So by worshipping a pure devotee of the Lord, it is more than worshipping the Lord himself. No, this that comes in a higher platform than worshipping the Lord himself. So in that way, like we see that worshipping of the spiritual master, and especially in all ISKCON centers, we offer worship to Srila Prabhupada, right? So that is a very important this one. So every day, like we have Prabhupada Guru Puja. So that worship of spiritual master is more than worship of the Supreme Lord himself. Okay. So worship of the devotee is more potent than worship of the Lord. It is therefore the duty of the transcendental students to hear of pure devotees as explained by similar devotees of the Lord, because one cannot explain about the Lord or his devotees unless one happens to be a pure devotee himself. So, the extent to which we have purity, to that extent, we'll be able to understand the Lord and his pure devotees. And more we become purified, more we will be able to understand their glories, better and better. Text 5, Shri Sukha Uvacha Iti Bruvanam Viduram Vinitham Sahasra Shirshnas Charanopada Danam Prahrishta Roma Bhagavat Kathayam Praniyamano Muni Abhyachashta. Sri Sukadev Goswami said, the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna was pleased to place his lotus feet on the lap of Vidura because Vidura was very meek and gentle. The sage Maitreya was very pleased with Vidura's words, and being influenced by his spirit, he attempted to speak. Purport: the word Sahasra Shrishnaha is very significant. This is like one who has many heads, something like that it is. So one who has diverse energies and activities and a wonderful brain is known as Sahasra Shirshnaha. This qualification is applicable only to the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna and no one else. The personality of Godhead was pleased to dine sometimes with Vidura at his home, and while resting, he placed his lotus feet on the lap of Vidura. Maitreya was inspired by the thought of Vidura's wonderful fortune. The hairs of his body stood on end, and he was pleased to narrate the topics of the personality of Godhead with great delight. So even Maitreya, like he didn't got this kind of opportunity to serve Krishna. So here Vidura is much more greater in position, like having got the personal association of Krishna. So, but here, in the association of devotees, it so happens that one devotee takes on the role of explaining the pastimes, and another person takes on the role of hearing them. And here, Vidura is such a great personality, who had such personal connection with Krishna, and he is very eager to hear about Krishna. It is not that he may not have heard all these things before, So he is very, very eager to hear about Krishna. And Maitreya Muni is also enthused. Like it is like sometimes it is mentioned, people who are so much addicted to cricket. No, they come together and they, discuss the same thing. Maybe like they would have discussed 100 times, and they will discuss the same thing, and they will have so much this one. Like can you tell like how this match happened and what these people did? And same thing will happen in the stock market. Same thing will happen in every Monday in this one. No, like two people have seen some film, and both of them have seen like no, they will keep on discussing about that for days and days together. No, film was only 3 hours, and the discussion goes on for many days, months. So in that way, like we see that Krishna and Krishna's pastimes and Krishna's devotees' pastimes and things like that, they're very wonderful, and the devotees come together and then they keep hearing them again and again and again, right? So and here we see that Maitreya, for him, no, for like Vidura is asking question, and Maitreya's hairs in the body are standing on end because he is also very much delighted to speak on the topics of Krishna. Okay. Text 6, Maitreya Uvacha Yada Sva Bharyaya Sardham Jatah Swayambhuvo Manuhu Pranjalihi Pranatas Veda Garbham Abhashata. The sage Maitreya said to Vidura, after his appearance, Manu, the father of mankind, along with his wife, thus addressed the reservoir of Vedic wisdom Brahma with obeisances and folded hands. Tvam ekah sarva bhutanam janma krit vrittida pita tatapi na prajanam te shushrusha kena va bhaved. You are the father of all living entities and the source of their subsistence, because they are all born of you. Please order us how we may be able to render service unto you. So this is the first thing that Manu, along with his wife Satarupa, so they spoke, that we are born of you, and you are the source of us, you are source of all living entities, and please order us what we are supposed to do now. The son's duty is not only to make the father the source of supply for all his needs, but also when he is grown up to render service unto him. So that is the law of creation beginning from the time of Brahma. A father's duty is to bring up the son until he is grown, and when the son is grown up, it is his duty to render service unto the father. So here in this connection, I was hearing one lecture of Srila Prabhupada. So he was mentioning that he went to the West with meager amount, 40 rupees or something like that. And at that point in time, probably in 75 or 74, 75. So he had so many centers opened and so much of revenue generated through the preaching activities and things like that. And he was mentioning that at this point in time, the ISKCON organization is like 40 crores, something like that. He was mentioning at that point in time. And he was telling that it is all given by Krishna. This Krishna has given all these things. And he was mentioning that you should know how to get things from Krishna. So then I was thinking like, why Prabhupada is telling like this? Devotee is not expecting to get anything from Krishna. Then Prabhupada was mentioning that no, it is not that I wanted something from Krishna, but like people of this world, they go to Krishna and ask, I want this, I want that. And they don't understand Krishna is not the order supplier. Krishna is not going to supply whatever we order for. That is not the way Krishna works. So, and he was mentioning, because I gave everything to Krishna, so Krishna gave everything to me. I did not had any reservation in giving everything to Krishna, and Krishna gave everything to me. So in the same way, he was mentioning that if you give a selfless service to Krishna, then Krishna will also take care, selflessly, like the devotee. So if we have a business dealing, like, no, I want this, I want that, Krishna is not an order supplier. Krishna is not going to supply all that we are going to demand. So Krishna is going to, like, how much we give, ye yatamam prapadyante tam sthitaiva bhajamyaham. So he works in a different principle, actually. So here here also we see that, so wherever we get a supply of things, we should render service to that source. That is the important thing. So people who have a broader vision, so they can understand that all the supply is coming from the Supreme Lord, and then they try to render the service to the Supreme Lord in an unalloyed way, right? Okay. So here we see that the father's duty is to bring up the son until he is grown, and when the son is grown up, it is his duty to render service unto the father. Text 8. Tad videhi namastubhyam karmasvidhyatma shaktishu yatra kritveha yasho vishvag amutra cha bhaved gatihi. O worshipful one, please give us your direction for the execution of duty within our working capacity so that we can follow it for fame in this life and progress in the next. Okay. Brahma is the direct recipient of Vedic knowledge from the personality of Godhead, and anyone who discharging his interested duties in disciplic succession from Brahma is sure to gain fame in this life and salvation in the next. The disciplic succession from Brahma is called the Brahma Sampradaya, and it descends as follows. Brahma, Narada, Vyasa, Madhva Muni, who is called as Purna Prajna, and Padmanabha, Narahari, Madhava, Akshobhya, Jayatirtha, Jnana Sindhu, Dayanidhi, Vidyanidhi, Rajendra, Jayadharma, Purushottama, Brahmanya Tirtha, Vyasa Tirtha, Lakshmipati, Madhavendra Puri, Ishwarapuri. So today is Ishwarapuri's disappearance day. Right? So Ishwarapuri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami and others, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Krishna Das Goswami, Narottam Das Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Jagannath Das Babaji, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, and then Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and then A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. So Prabhupada is giving his connection to the parampara. No, like here we see that Sampradaya parampara is starting, by Swayambhu Manu, like from Brahma Swayambhu Manu, it's coming down. So Prabhupada is giving another lineage, from Brahma to, till the point of himself. This line of disciplic succession from Brahma is spiritual, whereas the genealogical succession from Manu is material. But both are on the progressive march towards the same goal of Krishna consciousness. Okay, so by disciples, by accepting spiritual master and disciple, that is one kind of progression. Another is children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, like that. So that is another line of succession. So both here, Prabhupada is telling, both are aimed at attaining the goal of Krishna. Okay, text 9. Brahma vacha pritastubhyam maham tata swasti stadvam Kshitishwara Yannir Vyalikhena Hrida Shadhi Metyatma Narpitam. Lord Brahma said, My dear son, O Lord of the world, I am very pleased with you and I desire all blessings for both of you and your wife. You have without reservation surrendered yourself unto me with your heart for my instructions. Purport. The relationship between the father and the son is always sublime. The father is naturally disposed with goodwill towards the son, and he is always ready to help the son in his progress in life. But in spite of the father's goodwill, the son is sometimes misguided because of his misuse of personal independence. Every living entity, however small or big he may be, has the choice of independence. If the son is unreservedly willing to be guided by the father is 10 times more eager to instruct and guide him by all means. The father and son relationship, as exhibited here in the dealings of Brahma and Manu, is excellent. Both the father and the son are well qualified, and their example should be followed by all humankind. Manu, the son, unreservedly asked the father, Brahma, to instruct him, and the father, who was full of Vedic wisdom, was very glad to instruct. The example of the father of mankind may be rigidly followed by mankind, and that will advance the cause of relationship of father and sons. So this is a nice one. The father should be very learned in the Vedic scriptures and capable of guiding, and the son should be surrendered to the father. So this is a very nice example that is set by Manu. Text 10. Etavatyatma jaya vira karya ki apachitra chit gurau shaktya shaktya pramattair grihyeta sadhanam gata matsarahi. O hero, your example is quite befitting. A son in relationship with his father. This sort of adoration for the superior is required. One who is beyond the limit of envy and whose same accepts the order of his father with great delight and executes it to his full capacity. When the four previous sons of Brahma, the sages Shanaka, Sanatana, Sanandana, and Sanat Kumar, refused to obey their father, Brahma was mortified and his anger was manifested in the shape of Rudra. That incident was not forgotten by Brahma, and therefore the obedience of Manu Swayambhuva was very encouraging. From the material point of view, the four sages' disobedience to the order of their father was certainly abominable, but because such disobedience was for a higher purpose, they were free from the reaction of disobedience. Those who disobey their fathers on material grounds, however, are surely subjected to disciplinary reaction for such disobedience. Manu's disobedience to his father on material grounds was certainly free from envy, and Manu's obedience to his father on material grounds was certainly free from envy. And in the material world, it is imperative for ordinary men to follow the example of Manu. So here we see that in general condition, one has to follow the orders of the father. And in case if he is more advanced and for a higher cause, if he is disobeying the father, then that is not a problem. Just like no, Hiranyakashipu was telling, like, you stop the worship of Vishnu to Prahlad. Prahlad was not telling that, okay, my father, whatever you order, I'll do. No, no, like that is not possible. And in the same way, like Shukracharya was telling to Bali Maharaj that you don't surrender to Vamana and he's Vishnu. So then Bali Maharaj told, if he's Vishnu, all the scriptures are telling, no, we should surrender to Vishnu. Why are you telling not to surrender? I will have to surrender. So like he disobeyed. So that is also good. So in that way, like we see that so various instances of disobedience is there, but that is for a higher cause. But in general, so people in general should follow, or people in general should obey the orders of the one's father. Okay, text 11. Sattvam asyam apatyani sadrishyani atmano gunahi utpadhya shasa dharmena gam yajnai purusham yaja. Since you are my very obedient son, I ask you to beget children qualified like yourself in the womb of your wife. Rule the world in pursuance of the principles of devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus worship the Lord by performance of yajna. Purport. The purpose of material creation by Brahma is clearly described herein. Every human being should beget nice children in the womb of his wife as a sacrifice for the purpose of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead in devotional service. In Vishnu Purana 389, it is stated, Varanashramacharavatha Purushena Parapuman Vishnuraradyate Pantha Nanyat Tattosha Karanam. One can worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu by proper discharge of principles of Varana and Ashrama. So that is Varanashrama Acharavata. So Acharavata means like to follow. No, Varanashrama Acharavata. So for what? Purushena Para Puman. No, Vishnu Aradhyate Pantha. So like for the purpose of worshipping the Vishnu and na anyat tattosha karanam. So there is no other purpose should be there other than to tattosha, just to please the Supreme Lord, right? So there is no alternative to pacifying the Lord by execution of the principles of Varnashrama system. So this is the in general rule for the materially attached people. So for them, this Varnashrama system is the only way to please the Supreme Lord. So they must follow that. Okay, Vishnu worship is the ultimate aim of human life. Those who take the license of married life for sense enjoyment must also take the responsibility to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. And first stepping stone is the Varnashrama Dharma system. Varnashrama Dharma is the systematic institution for advancing in worship of Vishnu. However, if one directly engages in the process of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it may not be necessary to undergo the disciplinary system of Varnashrama Dharma. The other sons of Brahma, the Kumaras, directly engaged in devotional service, and thus they had no need to execute the principles of Varnashrama Dharma. So Varnashrama Dharma means like every material activity has a procedure to do. What is that procedure? So that is the Varnashrama Dharma. Marriage is a material activity. It has a procedure. Begetting children is a material activity. It has a procedure. Raising children is a material activity. It has a procedure. Like anything to do with this material world, it has a procedure. And that procedure, in short, is called Varnashrama Dharma. So there are different Varanas, different ashramas, and there are rules and regulations like guiding these different Varanas and ashramas. Okay, text 12. Param Shushrusham Param Sushrushanam Mahyam Syat Praja Rakshaya Nripa Bhagavam Sthe Praja Bhartur Rishikesho Anutushyati. O king, if you can give proper protection to the living beings in the material world, that will be the best service for me. When Supreme Lord sees you to be a good protector of the conditioned souls, certainly the master of the senses will be very pleased with you. The whole administrative system is arranged for the purpose of going back home, back to Godhead. Brahma is the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Manu is representative of Brahma. Similarly, all other kings on different planets of the universe are representatives of Manu. The law book of the entire human society is the Manu Samhita, which directs all activities towards transcendental service of the Lord. Every king, therefore, must know that his responsibility in administration is not merely to exact taxes from the citizens, but to see personally that the citizens under him are being trained in Vishnu worship. Right? So here we see that the modern kings, they are not worried about how the spiritual life of the people are going to be. So they don't even have an idea of spiritual life themselves, and they are not bothered about the spiritual well-being of the people in general. So, but we see that the whole purpose of the society is Varnashrama Acharavata Pumsa Purushena Parapuman. So, like Vishnu Aradhyate Panta. So that is the prime purpose of the whole creation. So this is the goal that is given, and any manager or any king that comes in, to rule this world has to work for this goal to be achieved, right? So if this goal is not achieved, then what's the point? Like, is any leader for that matter. So parents are natural leaders of the children, and we have the political leaders, we have area leaders, we have different leaderships. Wherever leadership roles are there, wherever we are managing certain set of people, so immediately this portion of this responsibility comes. So how are we encouraging them in Vishnu worship? How are we facilitating their Vishnu worship? So that is a very important thing, right? Okay, everyone must be educated in Vishnu worship and engaged in the devotional service of Rishikesha, the owner of the senses. The conditioned souls are meant not to satisfy their material senses, but to satisfy the senses of Rishikesha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the purpose of complete administrative system. One who knows this secret, as disclosed here, is in the version of Brahma, is the perfect administrative head. One who does not know this is a show bottle administrator. By training the citizens in the devotional service of the Lord, the head of a state can be free in his responsibility. Otherwise, he will fail in the onerous duty entrusted to him, and thus be punishable by the supreme authority. There is no other alternative in discharge of administrative duty. So here in general, it is mentioned any administrative duty means to help people advance in Krishna consciousness. In text 13, Esham na tushto bhagavan yajna lingo janardanaha tesham shramo hi apartaya yad atma nadrita swayam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Janardana, Lord Krishna, in the form to accept all the results of sacrifice. If he is not satisfied, then one's labor for advancement is futile. He is the ultimate self, and therefore one who does not satisfy him certainly neglects his own interests. So, very nice point actually. So the Lord is the acceptor, of all the sacrifice, Yajna Purusha. And if he is not satisfied, then one's labor of advancement is futile, right? So this is there in the first canto of Bhagavatam also, which says that, hmm, what is that? Shrama eva hi kevalam. So it comes, shloka comes like that. So it says that if by execution of one's occupational duty, if one cannot please the Supreme Lord, so then all that he is doing is just Shrama eva hi kevalam. No, it is just a hard labor, but there is no use, of this. Hmm? Okay. So Brahma is deputed as the supreme head of the universal affairs, and he is in turn, he in his turn deputes Manu and others as charge the affairs, means the in charge in the different language it is. So charge the affairs of the material manifestation, but the whole show is for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahma knows how to satisfy the Lord, and similarly, persons engaged in the line of Brahma's plan of activities also know how to satisfy the Lord. The Lord is satisfied by the process of devotional service, consisting of the ninefold process of hearing, chanting, etc. It is in one's own self-interest to execute prescribed devotional service, and anyone who neglects this process neglects his own self-interest. Everyone wants to satisfy his senses, but above the senses is the mind, above the mind is the intelligence, above the intelligence is the individual self, and above the individual self is the super self. Above even the super self is the Supreme Personality of God at Vishnu Tattva. Right? So super soul is Kala Vishesha, means he's a portion of the Supreme Lord. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, he exists beyond the existence of super soul. So the primeval Lord and the cause of all causes is Sri Krishna, Sarvakarana Karanam. The complete process of perfectional service is to render service for the satisfaction of the transcendental senses of Lord Krishna. Rishikesha Rishikena Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. Right? So who is known as Janardana. So the Lord's another name is called Janardana. Text 14. Manur Uvacha Adesheham Bhagavato Varte Yamiva Sudana Sthanam Tva Ihanu Janihi Prajanam Mama Cha Prabho. Sri Manu said, O powerful Lord, O all-powerful Lord, O killer of all sins, I shall abide by your order. Now please let me know my place and that of the living entities born of me. So we see that even Rudra has the same thing. Rudra, like the moment he's born, like he asked, like, please name me who I am, and then please tell me where I'm supposed to live and what are my activities. So here, Manu asked in a different order. First of all, he asked, like, what is your order for me? So then he understood, okay, I have to create good progeny, and like that progeny, all that I'm creating, I should train them in the process of worship of Vishnu. So this much Manu has understood. So now Manu is telling, where will I live? And I'm going to create living entities. The people who are born of me, where will they live? He's asking for allotment of a place. So that's the next thing that is happening. Text 15. Yet okaha sarva bhutanam mahi magna mahambasi asya uttarane yatno deva devya vidiyatatam. O master of the demigods, please attempt to lift the earth which is merged in the great water, because it is the dwelling place of all the living entities. It can be done by your endeavor and by the mercy of the Lord. Purport. The great water mentioned in this connection is the Garbhodaka ocean, which fills half of the universe. Right? So here we see that this is a different instance of this one. So one instance is Hiranyaksha puts the what is that, earth into the Garbhodaka ocean. Garbhodaka ocean is the whole universe is like Brahma Anda. It is like in the shape of an Anda. It is the shape of an egg, and half of this universe is filled with water, and rest half is where the 14 planetary system is there. And one of the planets is Earth, and this earth is picked up and put into the water below, no, Garbhodaka ocean. So, like that was like here we see that specifically Swayambhu Manu is asking that where will I live? And another aspect is, no, the residence for people in general is the place of Earth. An earthly planet is now submerged in the Garbhodaka ocean. So he is appealing to Lord Brahma, please try to get this earth out of this Garbhodaka ocean, and then this is possible by your endeavor and by the mercy of the Lord. So in this way, like he's addressing. Text 16, Maitreya Uvacha Parameshtitva Apam Madhye Tatas Sannam Aveksha Gam Katam Enam Sam Samuneshya Iti Dadyu Diyachiram. Sri Maitreya said, thus seeing the earth merged in the water, Brahma gave his attention for a long time. How could it be lifted? Purport. According to Jiva Goswami, the topics delineated here are of different millenniums. The present topics are of the Shveta Varaha millennium, and the topics regarding the Chakshusha millennium will also be discussed in this chapter. So here the discussion of Varahadev is going to come, and the pastimes of Varahadev that happened in two different millenniums, two different days or two different periods of Lord Brahma's life. So like means in every day of Brahma, so like all the various avatars actually appear. So and in every day of Brahma, so there is different variations of the avatars that are there. The pastimes is not ditto like the same. No, it's going to be a little different. So here, one of our great acharyas, Jiva Goswami, he is mentioning that the pastimes which happened on the Shveta Varaha millennium and the Chakshusha millennium, so they are a little bit mixed together and they are discussed in one shot. So sometimes the devotees in ecstasy of describing the Lord, so they may mix up two different pastimes of the Lord also. So that's okay. So that's mentioned here. Okay, text 17. Srijato me kshitir varbihi plavyamana rasam gatha athartha kim manushteyam asmadi sarga yojitahi yasyaham hridayad asam sa isho vidadatu me. Brahma thought, while I have been engaged in the process of creation, the earth has not inundated, the earth has been inundated by a deluge and has gone down into the depths of the ocean. What can we do who are engaged in the matter of creation? It is best to let the Almighty Lord direct us. Purport. The devotees of the Lord, who are all confidential servitors, are sometimes perplexed in the discharge of their respective duties, but they are never discouraged. They have full faith in the Lord, and He paves the way for the smooth progress of the devotee's duty. Now, we have a classic example in Bhagavad Gita. So, Arjuna was completely disturbed by the scene that was there in front of him. All his relatives and the spiritual master and everybody were there, ready to fight. So, there, Arjuna is telling Karpanya dosho pahatas svabhava prachami tvam dharma sammoda cheta. Like Yashre Yasham Nishchitam Bruhi Tanme. He's telling that what is Shreyasham? Yashreyasham Nishchitam. Like, please tell me for certain what is best for me. Bruhi Tanme. So please tell me like what is the best thing that I can do in this situation. So this is the position of a devotee. He never gets discouraged. He always takes shelter of the Lord. Of course, life may throw so many difficult situations. For us, maybe the situations are small. And for Lord Brahma, the whole earth is gone. He has to do big time problems happen to him. And he takes shelter of the Lord. And the big time problems are solved. And we have small time problems. And if we take shelter of the Lord, definitely Lord will see us through the whole problems. Okay, text 18. Iti abhidhyayato nasa vivarad sahasanuga varaha taktoko niragad angushta parimanakaha. O sinless Vidura, all of a sudden, while Brahma was engaged in thinking, a small form of a boar came out of his nostril. So you can imagine nostrils, like something is coming out, like something that must be very small. The measurement of the creature was not more than the upper portion of a thumb. No, it is mentioned in the Sanskrit as angushta. No, angushta means like the upper portion of a thumb. So only that much portion, like that small Varaha, no, he just appeared. Text 19. Tasya vipashyata kasta kshanena kila bharata gajamatra prav, pravabruddhe tad adbhutam abun mahat. O descendant of Bharata, while Brahma was observing him, that boar became situated in the sky in a wonderful manifestation as gigantic as a great elephant. So he just appeared in a very small way and then no, he just grew up. No, very, very gigantic. 20. Marichi pramukair viprair kumarair manu nasaha drishtva tats sukaram rupam tarkayam asha chitrada. Struck with wonder at observing the wonderful boar-like form in the sky, Brahma, with great brahmanas like Marichi, as well as the Kumaras and Manus, began to argue in various ways. Kim etat sukara vyajyam satvam divyam avishtitham aho batascharyam idam nasaya me vinishritam. No, they are not able to understand who this personality is. They are actually discussing. Is this some extraordinary entity come in the presence of a boar? No, it is very wonderful that he has come from my nose. No, Brahma is telling. Text 22. Drishtonggushta shiro matra kshana ganda shila samaha api svit bhagavan yesha yajno me kedayan manaha. First of all, this boar was seen no bigger than the tip of a thumb, and within a moment he was as large as a stone. My mind is perturbed. You see the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. Purport. Since Brahma is the supermost person in the universe and he had never before experienced such a form, he could guess that the wonderful appearance of the boar was an incarnation of Vishnu. The uncommon features symptomatic of the incarnation of Godhead can bewilder even the mind of Brahma. Itimimam satastasya brahmanah sah sunubhihi bhagavan yajna purusho jagar jagarjaghendra sannibha. While Brahma was deliberating with his sons, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu roared tumultuously like a great mountain. Purport. It appears that great hills and mountains also have their roaring power because they are also living entities. The volume of the sound vibrated is in proportion to the size of the material body. While Brahma was guessing about the appearance of Lord's incarnation as a boar, the Lord confirmed Brahma's contemplation by roaring with his gorgeous voice. Brahmanam harshayamasha haristham cha dvijotaman swa garjithena kakubaha pratisvana yata vibhuhu. The omnipotent Supreme Personality of Godhead enlivened Brahma and the other highly elevated Brahmanas by again roaring with his uncommon voice, which echoed in all directions. Purport. Brahma and other enlightened Brahmanas who know the Supreme Personality of Godhead are enlivened by the appearance of the Lord in any of his multi-incarnations. The appearance of the wonderful and gigantic incarnation of Vishnu as the mountain-like boar did not fill them with any kind of fear, although the Lord's resounding voice was tumultuous and echoed horribly in all directions as an open threat to all demons who might challenge his omnipotency. Nishamyate gargaritam swakeda Yishnu Maya Sukarasya Janas Tapas Satya Nivasinaste Tribi pravrittir munayo granansma. When the great sages and thinkers who are residents of Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka heard the tumultuous voice of Lord Bor, which was the all auspicious sound of all merciful Lord, they chanted auspicious chants from the three Vedas. Purport. The word Maya is very significant in this verse. Maya means mercy, specific knowledge, and also illusion. See, this word Maya is a multiple meanings are there as it is mentioned here. So Maya means that energy of Krishna. Maya generally we have the negative meaning, understanding of this Maya. So here we see that anything that is energy of Krishna, that is Maya. So like we see that spiritual energy is also Maya. Like the Yoga Maya potency of the Lord. So Maya means not that only meaning is illusion. So Maya also means mercy and specific knowledge and also illusion. So Prabhupada is giving all these different meanings here. Okay. Therefore, Lord Bor is everything. He is merciful, he is all knowledge, and he is illusion also. The sound which he vibrated as the Bor incarnation was answered by the Vedic hymns of the great sages in the planets of Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka. The highest intellectual and pious living entities live in those planets. And when they heard the extraordinary voice of the Bor, they could understand that the specific sound was vibrated by the Lord and no one else. Therefore, they replied by praying to the Lord with Vedic hymns. The earth planet was submerged in the mire, but on hearing the sound of the Lord, the inhabitants of the higher planets were all jubilant because they knew that the Lord was there to deliver the earth. Therefore, Brahma and all sages such as Bhrigu, Brahma's other sons and learned Brahmanas were enlivened, and they concertedly joined in praising the Lord with the transcendental vibrations of the Vedic hymns. The most important is Brihannaradya Purana verse, that is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So we'll see one more sloka. Tesham satham veda vithana murtir brahma daryatma gunanuvadam vinadya bhuyo vibudo dayaya gajendra lilo jalama vishesha. Playing like an elephant, he entered. Playing like an elephant, he entered into the water after roaring again in reply to Vedic prayers by great devotees. The Lord is the object of the Vedic prayers, and thus he understood that the devotees' prayers were meant for him. So the Lord is entering into the water of Garbhodaka ocean. So after acknowledging all the prayers by the devotees from various planetary systems, he is entering into the water for rescuing the earth. Purport. The form of the Lord in any shape is always transcendental and full of knowledge and mercy. The Lord is the destroyer of all material contaminations because his form is personified Vedic knowledge. All the Vedas worship the transcendental form of the Lord. In the Vedic mantras, the devotees request the Lord to remove the glaring effulgence because it covers his real face. So that is there in the Ishopanishad. That is the version of the Ishopanishad. So the Lord has no material form, but his form is always understood in terms of the Vedas. The Vedas are said to be the breath of the Lord, and that breath was inhaled by Brahma, the original student of the Vedas. The breathing from the nostril of Brahma caused the appearance of the Lord Bor, and therefore the Bor incarnation of Lord is the personified Vedas. So the glorification of the incarnation by the sages on higher planets consisted of factual Vedic hymns. Whenever there is glorification of the Lord, it is to be understood that the Vedic mantras are being rightly vibrated. The Lord was therefore pleased when such Vedic mantras were chanted, and to encourage his pure devotees, he roared once more and entered the water to rescue the submerged earth. Okay, so we will stop here. So we will see many wonderful pastimes of Varahadev in the coming sessions. Hare Krishna. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर भक्तवृंद की जय. हरे कृष्णा.